Jared Parry for Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store and Our Kings Competitions. Delighted to be joined by Eddie Hearn here in Birmingham. Edwards Yafai, they've both weighed in. What a fight we've got ahead of us on Saturday.
Really good fight, really good card as well. And I think the British public, fight fan public, they know their boxing. And when it's a good show, when it's a good main event, that translates in ticket sales, which is really good tomorrow night, viewership and just general interest. This is a really good all-British domestic clash with World Championship ramifications. WBC interim world title, really good card. It's going to be a great night in Birmingham.
Will you be pushing to make sure the Kenshiro-Taraji fight happens for the winner next?
Yeah, that's a tough fight, but there's nowhere to go after you win a fight like this. You know, for Sonny, I think Sonny deserves a lot of credit because at the end of the day, he's the guy that, you know, he's having all these big fights back to back. He fought Jesse Bam Rodriguez in Phoenix. He had a comeback fight against Curiel in Phoenix on really a Mexican show. And now he's fighting Galal Yafai. So I guess he's like the new breed of those fighters in real fights. And, you know, after you win this fight, you want to be challenging for the World Championship, and that's going to be the WBC.
Sonny's been quite humble this week, like you said in the press conference, his comments yesterday. You know, we don't get the fiery Sonny like we used to see on Twitter all the time. But he did come out afterwards saying about the presser being late, how it got moved around due to the Chisora Wallin press conference that took place yesterday. What did you make of Sonny's comments about that?
I think he had a point. Like, I don't think that fighters should just keep their mouth shut. You know, if they've got feedback and they've got a point, then no problem. And you know, we've got to marry that up with making the event a commercial success, pushing interest, pushing tickets, pushing attendance. It was very well attended last night, and you sometimes find, like today, good turnout, but at 1 o'clock it's not easy for people to get off work, get down here, get back to work. So sometimes you want to do those public events a little bit later. And there was the Chisora presser, which was announced before ours. So we spoke to Queensbury, and you look at a lot of these Riyadh seasons, the press conference about 9 p.m, which is, you know, that's difficult. But I'd take on board what he says, and it's definitely something we'll think about. It's just marrying it up with making it a big event, and it worked well last night.
So like you said, he had to obviously go to the press conference the night before the weigh-in, etc. Was there ever any thought of doing like a weigh-in today and then a ceremonial one tonight again to try and get the public in?
Yeah, I think that's something that we do in America for every event. The issue is that the board, you know, if the board are going to weigh in the mornings, they want to all come down the night before. So then that means bringing more people in, where really I feel like they should just turn up at 9 a.m. and do it anyway. I think from a safety perspective, it's a really important point. You know, if you weigh in at 9 o'clock and you do the ceremonial weigh-in at 1 or even later, the reality is you've got an extra 4 hours of hydration, which I think is really important. So I would like to see the board look at early weigh-ins. The only thing is sometimes on the ceremonial weigh-ins, you don't quite get the same, you know, like up there, everyone's like hungry, they've made weight and they're ready to fight. Later on, when they've had a bit of pasta and a couple of litres, they're quite chilled. So yeah, again, marrying up the two, but all things that we have to look at moving into 2025, because there's going to be a lot of changes.
Moving on then, Conor Benn, UCAD have come out and said that they aren't going to appeal the decision. He's also gone and called out Mario Barrios, he did it in Spanish and everything. Yeah. Obviously there was a lot of talk, you wanted to make Chris Eubank Jr. next, but also he's apparently now opened negotiations with Erislandy Lara. So what can you tell us on all that?
Yeah, I don't believe he's going to fight Lara. I mean, Lara's 42 years of age, he's actually pretty good. And I think he beats Eubank quite comfortably, and I don't think it's really that big a fight. We're in a tough spot, I mean we're in a good spot, but a tough spot in that you should always want to fight for world championships, and Conor really wants to win that world welterweight championship. I think he can beat Barrios, and I think it's a great fight. At the same time, the Eubank fight is huge, and financially in one fight you can secure your future, your kids' future, forever. Conor at the moment is leaning towards fighting for the world title and then fighting Eubank. That's a dangerous game to play, but as his ring walk song suggests, he's a dangerous man. I love it. I love the fact and the thought of seeing Conor Benn fight for the World Championship at the O2 in London. But we've got a lot of decisions to make over the next couple of weeks. Don't rule out any of those. But you know, the main thing is obviously he's cleared to fight, and it's going to be a massive 2025 for him.
Another one is obviously Dan Raphael brought out the proposed card for February 22nd. Some brilliant fights on there. It's been discussed quite a lot this week. But Beterbiev Bivol 2 was one rumoured for it. If that happens again, will that be for Undisputed, or because obviously there was a IBF mandatory?
Yeah, there would be. I think they'll find a way to do it. I think Beterbiev can get an exception for that fight. I've seen all the fights that Dan's. You know, I think it's sometimes frustrating. I know that Dan's and your jobs is to kind of get that news and to leak it out. It's not always true, but also at the same time, His Excellency wants to give you the news. And it's difficult for, you've got myself, Spencer Brown, Frank Warren, we're the three guys making these fights. We talk a lot, and I can't really comment. All I can tell you is the card's the best card I've ever seen. And it's a lot of work goes into it. There's still work to be done. I think an announcement will be imminent, but there'll be a lot of deals done today and tomorrow. So I'll leave it to His Excellency to announce. You'll see it when you see it, and you'll be very, very happy.
And the final one, Teofimo Lopez said that he has sent reasonable offers to Team Haney and Team Kambosos. I think then he actually followed up and said it was a 2.4 million purse, followed by a 55-45 pay-per-view split. Obviously, you now represent George Kambosos alongside Lou de Bella. What can you tell us on, have you seen any of this offer?
I've not seen the offer, but maybe it's because I'm late to the party. I mean, we only just announced the signing of George a couple of days ago. I think George needs that fight at 140 first, and that will come in probably February time in Australia. Then he's open to fighting. I mean, they've got a huge history. First fight was epic. That's not enough money to get Devin Haney in the ring, but would it interest us and George Kambosos? Absolutely happy to discuss. But I think more than likely you'll see George fight in February time in Australia, and then he's going to be there for all the big names at 140, particularly, of course, Liam Paro against Richardson Hitchens next week in Puerto Rico. If Paro wins that fight, opens up a massive fight, all-Australian fight against Kambosos.
Thank you very much for your time, Eddie.